semifinals is about to kick off. Autoaim versus Trickster. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? North America's tournament number 5.
Get your energy. Send your energy to your favorite player right now in chat. They both need it. This will be epic for either of them.
They're on the new map where Portalcraft is hiding and incubating.
Best place to play the finals.
Yeah. Portalcraft's still sitting and waiting to be debuted.
And it looks like Shadowcraft actually getting banned out for Autoaim here, so able to play his Havencraft list.
Interesting.
Also interested to know why he didn't play the Havencraft list first into a Shadowcraft deck.
Yeah. So Trickster's there. Definitely wants a mulligan 1, 2, 3. Because if you keep these cards...
Not a winning hand does this make. Yeah. All right.
Lurching,
better.
Catacomb. So that's interesting. If Autoaim is convinced not to remove those lurching corpses, and then you put the skeletons on top of them, that can lead into a turn 5, 6, 7 that ends up being unstoppable.
Yep. Just too hard to deal with, and every time then and thereafter that you try to trade with these lurching corpses, you're losing so much value.
Yeah. Shadow being on the play too, I think, is pretty good.
Being on the play is nice. However, because Autoaim's Runecraft deck is based around followers, extra evolution orbs are always good.
Yes, that's for sure. That's for sure. I think, depending on how Autoaim gets into this situation, the lurching corpses could actually destroy the fact that it's so follower-based. And the one thing against Hector is providing that ward target for the lurching corpses to be able to control when its removal pops, I think is also quite potent.
Yep, and I think Trickster just thinking between Belness and Lurching Corpse. This is always like a weird choice, right? It's like, do I want to deal more damage? Do I want to play a threat that they're not really going to want to attack into? Like, I want to make sure that my Prince Catacomb gets the most value it possibly can. There are just so many things to consider with even just that small of a play.
I do think that in many ways playing out the Belness could be a good option, especially if then you get... Well, they don't play a lot of spells, right? So you know that there's not a lot of hard removal, so just keep playing followers to the board.
In a situation where I'm playing against a just follower deck, I think my option would have been Lurching Corpse into Lurching Corpse, just because I feel like it is the highest percentage chance of me to get the biggest Prince Catacomb possible. But, again, that's a playstyle choice, not necessarily right or wrong.
Yeah. So this is going to the evolution turn. I feel like it's tempting to do Lurching Corpse Zombie Party, but I don't know... Maybe you want to save that zombie party for a higher value.
Well, with the hand, he already has Odile and Skeleton Prince, so he has good ways to take over the mid-game. Problem is, without any extra card draw, and like this is the problem with playing and not playing Demon Eater, you know what I mean? Without the card draw, I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to overcome like Illusionists, Israfil, Zeus's, and all of that stuff with Shadowcraft nowadays. Especially when there's not this air of, you know, I'm playing Dragon Oracle and Fervor and all these turns that you get for free.
I do like Catacomb here because you still get pretty good value out of the Catacomb. You don't try to win it big. You take your small wins here. This turn is turn 4 for Autoaim. You play the Lurching Corpse on the next turn, and then on turn 5 if the Hector comes out, you already have that Lurching Corpse set up, right? As opposed to playing the Lurching Corpse here and potentially having it get removed before that happens. Because Lurching Corpse becomes infinitely more valuable, first of all, when it can actually proc its effect, and then if there are bigger followers on the board.
Yep. So saving one for late game is definitely not bad. It always gives you a really nice Necro Assassin top deck, you know, things like that.
And now your zombie party becomes higher value. Yep. So I think this worked out pretty okay for Trickster.
Absolutely. And like this early game push is nothing to snuff at. He is going to get a Skeleton Prince and or an Odile next turn. Well, not and, but one of the two. Or Odile next turn to try to clear up this board. However, the followers are going to be so big for Autoaim that I don't know if Odile's going to do enough.
Nice. Throws the carrot away to make sure something like the Strix or the Fleece does not get removed by any Lurching Corpse shenanigans. I would not evolve. That just
this is a tricky situation. So like if they have a Soul Squasher, it's a bad evolve. If they don't, finishing off a 4-7 in Shadow right now, almost impossible.
Yeah. And that makes Odile not super comfortable, and he doesn't have
you
the
can't even
option.
play the Odile here.
Yeah.
Can't even take care of this Felice.
Yep.
That's rough. That is brutal.
Wow. Okay. Well, this is basically a strong turn for Autoaim. I think he really needs to consider how he wants to deal with the board here.
I don't even think Autoaim cares about the board anymore. I think he is now the aggressor.
I think there is a swing, especially with Ector, right?
It can get you back. I guess evolving this, like, you do save
And
yourself
maybe
2
even
damage.
the Odile, some combination of this and the Odile, or combination of this and the Ector might be tough. But I agree, it's still very unclear to me.
That was a very interesting evolve over. I guess just so that the skeleton, the little baby skeleton, can't take out the carrot. If he would have attacked the 3-1, it could have. So this just presents the hardest board to attack into. However, we know Odile's in hand, and this perfectly kind of sets up for an Odile. Well, I mean, still not really. The 4-7 is still
Ector,
there.
I think you have to Ector, right? You have to throw the 3-1 into the Felice. And even then, 3-1 into the Felice, 1 zombie in there.
Yeah, you
One
can clear
zombie
the board.
in there, yeah. And then evolve the Ector, I think, is a board clear.
And then you've got just a follow-up like Sahaquil into Israfil. Like, we've seen that happen so often today.
Yep. Oh, okay. Oh, I think this is fine too.
Interesting ordering. Doesn't get full value unless he wanted to go face for 5 this turn. Because if he attacks that 5-1 into a follower, I'm not really sure about the play. Doesn't look like he's going to, yeah. So I like it.
Nice. Full clear plus good damage to face. That's a big turn. That's a
huge
big
turn.
turn for Trickster. Grabs the Israfil, and again, this card is just so. This combo is so powerful, but no evolution orb means that one skeleton remains, and that could end up making the game very dangerous.
Every damage counts.
We'll see what comes off the top here. Odile has continued to just not. Oh, okay.
That was pretty good.
Well,
draw.
that's a pretty good setup. I almost think that you play it now because you want to save your shadows for Aisha. Maybe? I don't know. There's Zeus on the top end, but I guess you're on the play, so you get to that 10 play point first.
Well, there's no evolution orbs left. You know that a Sahaquil was just used. You know Israfil can't necessarily come down without a Sahaquil next turn. I'm thinking almost Skull Ring pass this turn is pretty nice because if they can't deal with multiple of the threats, you just win. Or you're just creating a bunch of shadows anyway, and you're winning with Aisha later. So, yeah, I guess realistically, both options are really good. Ektar produces a bigger threat next turn, which means he can close the game out in 2 turns if he plays it.
Interesting. I do think any opportunity to push them below 10, especially with the Israfil coming down, so taking into account that 4 health heal, is going to be very good for you because then you can just play the defensive game.
You're absolutely correct. This would put Autoaim to 6 and then technically give an out to just win next turn if Autoaim can't find a way to deal with the 5-6.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That was not an option I thought would happen.
Very interesting.
I do think that this is kind of dangerous because now you still don't have any evolution orbs, right?
This
What
is
is it,
another 2-turn
Illusionist?
win, though.
Yeah, Illusionist has to pull something.
Well, it's going to pull something with Rush, so it means that the game will not end.
Yeah. 2, because it's 6 with the Ector. But there is good value in...
But I like this because this sets up an O-Dial that will deal 2. The 2 attackers to deal 2. Put his opponent to 4. Or no, I'm sorry. Backwards. Ektar to put him to 2. And then O-Dial the following turn to just end it. However, that aligns perfectly with playing Israfil, so that's not lethal.
Oh, man!
I think playing that Aisha was a little overzealous from
And
Trickster.
he didn't throw in his skeleton to use the shadows either. Oh, no. I almost think if you were going down this line, you got to get the shadows, right?
But Israfil this turn isn't enough. You can't just play Israfil here.
Yeah, because you don't have an evolution orb.
Yeah, so
The problem remains.
Forget everything that we were just talking about. Look,
He has to play Illusionist again. What is the pool?
Shadowcraft just finding a way to like get right around this. And I
Yeah.
think that top deck Ektar was that's what sold it.
Absolutely key. Had the big push. And we were talking about kind of, I like the way that he played his options from the double lurching corpse to the Prince Catacomb and choosing to play it in what order. And I think it was important for him to play that Skeleton Prince and just concede the turn, right? Rather than trying to spend resources in an awkward way to deal with that board.
I like it.
And like you said, the Ector that came back really, really helped them get a lot of damage and secure board control.
Yeah. Honestly, though, with the lack of Thanes, right? So Thanes being less of an option in the deck, like drawing your Ektards is so much more important these days. And I think drawing that second one literally just put him over the edge. Where if he didn't draw that second one, I don't really know how he would have closed the gap before these Isophils would have actually started taking over.
Yeah, Trickster reveling in his victory here.
Oh yeah, playing the extra cards.
There it is. We'll take one game, and Autoaim is a curse happening. Autoaim now needs to win 2 in a row to avoid the reset here. And Trickster, he played out the situation very nicely.
Very nicely.
And I like kind of, there was no... I think he did land into good top decks in that game, but he didn't play middling cards like Pure Hearted Singer and Demon Eater.
That's very important to note.
Alphas, right?
It's important to note. Getting the Ektards without actually having to mess up his curve with card draw effects helped him that game.
Yeah.
Like, yes, he might have gotten a little lucky, but he didn't chafe at all in any of his turns. He wasn't just playing filler cards to like for an end means. He was just playing on curve stuff. And that's really all you need to do when you're playing a more aggressively styled deck, or you want to play a deck that's slower with a more aggressive tune to it. Is to just play stuff on curve.
Play the stuff on curve.
Now this matchup we've seen go in favor of neutral runes so far.
Interesting.
I like this draw from Trickster.
Hector is definitely very powerful, but I do think that Spiderweb might be a little too much. He's on the
one drop. And the one drop. Spicy.
This might actually run away.
I'm going to put a tally on how much damage this Goblin does behind 2 Spiderweb.
Witch of Sweets is really, really great here. You don't sacrifice stats and you still get that draw, I think it's
very nice.
Is really, really good. But is it actually going to draw into options that you want? Autoaim got the Ginger, so he obviously wants that, but...
Oh, I didn't know he had Ginger in his deck. We haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have back-to-back Ginger winners? This is really gonna cement Ginger as like tier 0.
It's a strong deck. I mean, we talk about again like cards that are good stats that have just plays across each turn that can fight up against the boards that are being generated, right? And you don't need a ramp. You don't need a ramp. You don't need to skip turns. You just play honest game, right?
Yep. Oh, and another Goblin. I didn't even see the other Goblin. So much extra damage on these turns because
you can
goblins.
even Goblin and another Spiderweb Imp.
I like it. Goblin Spiderweb Imp. Goblin Spiderweb Imp.
Would you Angel of the Word?
Nah. That Spiderweb Imp is dying regardless. Okay. Save that Angel of the Word for later for face damage. I think that is the big decision though. That
because turn
coming
4 you want a Belphegor, right?
So dealing the damage to yourself with the Spiderweb Imp now is the best option. Yeah, there we go. I like it.
Such a strong board.
Not enough goblins in the format anymore.
Yeah, it's been kind of forgone to try to play into the late game, I think.
Trickster's playing 6 of them. He's playing them in his Shadowcraft. Or what? Wait, was he playing goblins in his Shadowcraft deck? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Because we have some players playing goblins.
Yeah,
like
some Shadowcraft decks are just dropping the 1 play points.
Yeah.
And again, can't deal with this board, and now it's the evolution turn.
Dun 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 dun.
And another Spiderweb.
My goodness. This is kind of
I think you
weird
play the
turn.
Belphegor, you want to activate your Dark General.
Yeah. But do you have to get rid of all these Lyrials is the question.
Yeah, it is a lot of removal here.
Or maybe you just go all face. I mean, he already does have the Dark General with a Spiderweb in hand in order to go off on like a turn 6. Doesn't give him great options for turn 5 yet.
It's like gold to me.
That's not too much better.
All your followers are above 1 defense, so that's kind of nice. Okay, does not evolve for damage.
Yep. I like this evolve. And then you just go face with everything else. He might trade a Goblin in.
Yeah.
It is a good value trade at this point because there will be a big board swing next turn.
Stinking.
Dun dun. And face or trade.
1, 2, 3, face. 3, 2, 1. Face.
I don't know. If he's thinking about it this long, I want to say he's going face with it. I don't think you think about it if you're trading. You just kind of trade because it's a value trade.
Yeah. Face.
Face it is.
Okay, that could be the divisive turn.
It's super huge.
The Hector comes into play. Nice.
Evolve the Lyrial.
He's trying to figure out which way he wants to trade into the Spiderweb, and I think.
Any which way, I think he's trading that Witch of Sweets into something.
Wow.
And
Okay.
This goes face. 100% this goes face.
Yeah, that sets up lethal if you don't clear the board. He needs to clear the Hector anyways, but it also, you know, that burn we're talking about. More Hectors are an option. Fleece is an option, you know.
Pulling Hector back with an Illusionist is also gross because you get the ward and you get the rush.
Oh, man. How do you swing back now?
Yeah, the options, like, these Belphegor draws have not been overly spicy for any of our players today, which I kind of feel for. Now, there is a Spiderweb Imp plus Angel of the Word, and then you can evolve over that and hit
Interesting.
face.
Okay, so he's evolving the Spiderweb Imp?
I think so, yeah.
Yep, to make sure the goblins can keep swinging. These goblins have built up a lot of damage, by
I'm
the way.
telling you, man. Goblins have hit for almost all of the damage we've seen so far. A lot of goblin damage.
Okay. And so now the Dark General has a possibility if he top decks a 2-play point card, and it's going to be the Hector.
Yeah. Like I said, gross.
Oh, man.
Attack face.
Oh!
Arthur screams. That's my favorite. All right. So, realistically, the Hector will prevent 1 damage next turn. And then, like you said, next turn...
He's apologizing, but why?
Yeah, why is he apologizing? We've got Dark General into a Razorry Claw. That's a possible 9, 10, 11, 12 damage. So it is possible if Autoaim had not evolved defensively this game, that Trickster could have won next turn. But Autoaim read this, is not going to allow it.
Yeah. Oh,
And that's
man.
it. I don't see a way that he can clear this entire board.
Angel of the Word, evolve. Yeah, there's no way. The goblins did work, but
They did work.
I
but
feel like you had to evolve one of the goblins.
maybe earlier, yeah. I don't know. I don't.
I
see
don't
a
know what the
turn.
line is. Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, I mean, if he had evolved one of the goblins, I mean, maybe
Honestly,
the would have done work.
honestly, I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to do. The followers are just too big on the side of Autoaim here.
Oh man, Bloodtrigger's brand.
Could have had it.
Doesn't
have
it. It doesn't cost 1. It costs 3.
It's not
It's not Diabolic Drain.
Diabolic Drain.
It's not. It's not the same.
It's not the same. Now, imagine if he would have played Belphegor into Diabolic Drain there. It would have been like,
Yeah.
OMG.
Yeah. It's a game changer. Autoaim
Now-
is able to close it out. That brings it back. A very scary early game, but Autoaim is able to persist.
And now this Havencraft deck, always known to be pretty bad against Vengeance Blood, but this is a far different Havencraft deck than you're used to playing against.
Again, the big thing here is you almost prevent the Vengeance deck from activating Belphegor, right? Because you can't interact with the amulets. You put yourself in the Vengeance, all the amulets pop, and they're way higher value than what the cards you have are, and they have more than enough to swing into you.
All right, guys, Autoaim fans out there, this is match/tournament points.
Oh my god!
Send your energy right now.
This is way closer than I thought it would be, actually.
And all you Trickster fans out there, to reset the bracket, this could happen right now. Send your energy.
I think Vengeance Blood has certainly been put on the, you know, let's think a little harder about what this does section of the deck lists.
And if Autoaim wins with this Havencraft deck, I will feel so validated. Not just in Autoaim, but the fact that Havencraft deserves a spot in your lineup. So good. Doesn't even matter what cards you play in it, apparently. It's just you play Havencraft, feels good, man.
Oh.
I never leave home without Summit Temple, but I'm a crazy man, you know.
Yeah, Summit Temple has, situationally, it always seems to peak up in like, oh, if only you had Summit Temple here, but then it's, you know, that changes the whole dynamic of the game, but.
Absolutely. Because, like, what turn did you have to actually put it into play, and, like, how much of effect did it give you? Generally speaking,
And how much could your opponents have mitigated damage just by weakening your followers rather than having to actually remove them?
Absolutely. I gotta say, Beastly Vows are probably insane against Vengeance Blood, because Vengeance Blood tries to out-attack and defense value you in play, and you can't do that with Tigers.
Yeah. This is the scenario. If you do not spin up aggressive enough, like you don't have a Savage Wolf down on this turn, right? I think it gets tough. Like, what do you put down? The Goblin, like we saw in the last game, gets a lot of damage, but 1 a turn is not quite enough.
It's not. This Pegasus Duan is actually going to get, finally, some value this game.
Here comes the first chunk of big stuff.
Oh, and another Pegasus. So you can wrap up 2 into this board.
Yep.
This is pretty insane value here.
Oh, man. There's the Savage Wolf.
I feel like so far that we've seen, Vengeance Blood live or dies on the fact if it has Savage Wolf on 3. And so far we've only seen it once.
Yeah. It actually, like, even if you Hungering Horde the Pegasus Dullahan, it comes back potentially on the next turn because it might hop into the Beastly Vow, and then you can play another Pegasus Dullahan, and that will come back on the Hourglass.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Trickster's just like, I don't know what to do. This is exactly why this is the type of deck that will win a tournament, because your opponent has no idea what the proper attacks are against the strategy that you're playing. It's like, do I just play Savage Wolf and let everything go? Do I let you just do your own thing? Like, do I trade here? Can I?
Yeah. I mean, on the one hand, it is like a, I think Belphegor evolved the Goblin, maybe? But it's just like, now you're down to 10. The ward is the only thing that's keeping you alive now.
You have to evolve over this Tiger. You have to. You just got to do it. Now, he does have Emeraldas. But again, he's on the draw, so that's not going to come down for a little while. And once we get to these later play point turns, these Light Johns are going to put in a ton of work.
Okay. Oh, wow. He actually goes for the Dullahan, so that's going to pop back.
Why the Dullahan?
This means that I think play point 6 is going to be huge for Autoaim. It's going to be gigantic.
Yeah, this is gross. He gets to put another Pegasus down if he wanted to.
He opts not to.
Okay.
Still, though, basically this is a Magic Illusionist, right?
Yeah.
It's a 3/3 Magic Illusionist.
Quite a bit bigger.
Oh, man.
This is just going to go face. What do you do against this? This is Daria. This is literally what I'm talking about. This is a Daria Haven deck.
Oh, no.
Autoaim, what a master, man. Look at this deck.
There's no way to swing for any damage on this board.
You can't do anything here.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so the Goblin can go into 1. You have 6 health, so...
I mean, you're dead. Like, maybe you're not dead, but you're dead. You know what I mean?
There's no way. You just evolve the...
That's it.
Yeah, you just
no
evolve
other play this
the
turn.
owl that comes out.
And Autoaim with his sweet Havencraft deck is going to take this one down. Very well deserved.
I feel like this is probably one of the strongest tempo swings we've seen out of Haven, right? Like this board flood on turn 6, turn 5, turn 6. Even with kind of very reminiscent of Neutral Haven at the peak of its strength. But I think in many ways even more unstoppable because it comes in the form of amulets.
Yeah. This is crazy. Yeah, Trickster, I don't know what you do either. Why didn't you ban this deck, you crazy fool?
There it is. Autoaim takes the tournament win.
Autoaim. Good job, my man.
Makes it happen.
Awesome.
And that is going to bump him up 20 points, putting him in a very, very comfortable spot. And added on to the fact that he's been competing time and time and time again.
He's been there since the beginning of the Shadowverse, competitive scene has been around. Like, he deserves a win. This is his day. All for it.
Off the back of a very good deck as well.
That's it.
I mean, that was him showing, using his own powers for his game.
That's it.